Now, looking here at my grandmother Lorraine and great-grandmother Florence and great-great-grandmother Ethel, you can see the way that names of females are accepted on family trees of today. With no inclusion of the last names, they replace their original last name of their father for the last name of their husbands. They, meaning genealogical powers that be, expect you to ignore the massive changes in your ancestor's identity, a change that is unique to other cultures. Not all women change their names. See here that Lorraine is referred to as Lorraine Laddie instead of Lorraine Smales or Lorraine Sutherland. Florence is referred to as Florence Wright instead of Florence Latty or Florence Rolfe, and her mother Ethel is referred to as Ethel Luke instead of Ethel Wright or Ethel Mace. They don't want you to know the new name, they want you to note the original name. And this frustrates me greatly. The way that I record names is inclusive of all identities assumed by the Ethel Evelyn. She lived until the age of 89. She used the last name Luke from 1895 until 1919 when she was 23. She used the last name Wright from 1919 until 1976. That's 54 years she used that last name. And she used the last name McMinn from 1976 until 1985. That's 9 years she used the last name. Yet on family trees of today, she is only referred to by the name that she used for the first 23 of 89 years. Her daughter used the last name Wright from 1921 until 1938, 17 years. She used the last name Laddie from 1938 until 1980, 42 years. And she used the last name Rolfe from 1980 until 2016, 36 years. So, for the first 17 years of her 95 years of life, she used the last name Wright, and yet genealogical standards of today would still refer to her with that last name. And now her daughter, my grandmother, used the last name Laddie from 1939 until 59, that's 20 years. She used the last name Smales from 1959 until 1969, 10 years. And she used the last name Sutherland from 1969 until 1999, 30 years of the 60 years that she lived. Now, they expect you, as I've said, to ignore the massive change in your ancestor's identity, a change that is unique to other cultures. Not all women change their names. Now, you can see, this is despite the fact that they, meaning the genealogical powers that be, follow a religion known as Christianity, which too has name changes, and yet they use the new names instead of the original names. Joseph married Miriam, who's now known as Mary, and they go so far to ignore her birth name by making temples called Mary instead of Miriam. She had a son named Yeshua, but he's now known as Jesus, but everybody knows him as Jesus, but not by his original name. Yet genealogical standards do the opposite of this. They don't want you to know the new name, they want you to note the original name. And this frustrates